welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. This is the AEW Dynamite review show, shall I say. And of course, I can't be without, well, we can't have a Dynamite review without the Dynamite man, Dave, DMD. Dave, how are you? How's the traffic?
Oh man, sorry. I'm usually very professional and set up and good to go, and I've got all my notes, and today's been a bit of a mad rush, but yeah, I made it just about, scraped it.
That's fine. Just before we get underway with the Dynamite review, we do need to send thoughts, prayers, and condolences to the family of superstar Billy Graham, who passed away at the age of 79 last night. I believe it was overnight anyway, or overnight here in the UK. Pioneer of wrestling. We never really got a chance to see him because we wasn't in that particular era, but obviously we know the impact that he had on professional wrestling. So thoughts, prayers, and condolences to his family, friends, and peers. Dave, let's begin. So before we start with Dynamite, there's always news in AEW. Never once a surprise, and once again, who the news is going to be about. Firstly, obviously, before Dynamite went on air, they announced Collision. The logo very similar to Nitro's logo from WCW, I think, which irked Mr. Bishop a little bit.
Yeah.
And the second bit of news, because it ties into it, so we might as well discuss it both at the same time. All is not well again with CM Punk and AEW. He was left off of the Collision background. He was actually meant to be on there. The interesting point is, on the announcement that Tony Khan made, he announced about 5 cities that Collision was going to be on, but he didn't reveal the first one. Now, I believe the Punk issue is to do with the fact that Ace Steel was meant to be back, and then they said no, or he's going to be back as in remote, and Punk wanted him there. I suppose the question is, have they left this first city out? Because we know it was meant to be Chicago. It was called the Second Coming. Are we saying now that they're going to have another conversation before next week's Dynamite to try and iron things out so they can announce the first state of Dynamite? So that question, and what do you make of the Punk and Collision stuff?
So I haven't heard. Apparently, Punk has come out and said something with Alvarez, or he's replied to something today.
He had a bit of a to-do with Alvarez. Yeah, it's not a surprise, but yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping there wasn't a lot in this, and it was being blown up out of proportion.
Yeah,
but I don't know, and it wouldn't surprise me if not, because the report going around was the fact that Ace Steel, CM Punk had insisted on Ace Steel getting his job back, and they offered him a job, but it would be remote. It wouldn't be at Collision, or it wouldn't be, on site, if you like. And he kind of threw his toys out the pram about that. So would it shock me if it was true? Not massively. As an AEW fan, disappointed that we're kind of having to talk about this again.
Yeah.
To be honest, and in hindsight, as much as I enjoyed the MJF stuff with CM Punk and his return was epic, I never expected to be saying this, but there's certainly got to be a lot of people in AEW thinking, was it really worth it? Because all the negativity seems to stem from one person, and even if it's not all his own doing, people online have got this fascination with him, like an obsession with him. And there's always drama wherever he goes. I mean, hopefully AEW can cash in on that, and the old controversy creates cash. But we don't want it going down the routes of some of the backstage issues that WCW had, and wrestlers with too much control. That would be a really bad thing, and also that could throw the futures of the likes of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks into question, and for AEW to lose them, it was a big enough blow to lose Cody, if we're honest, but to lose Kenny and the Bucks would be devastating.
It would, as you say. Hopefully, they can resolve. I mean, whether they resolve it for the better or for the worse, they've got at least a week before they announce where the Collision,
Yeah.
first collision's going to be. Sorry.
I like the logo.
Yeah.
It was the first thing I said to you. It reminds
Yeah.
me of the Nitro logo, and then obviously everybody's been saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But I do like it. I mean, I don't. If Eric Bischoff's upset, I would take it as a compliment, to be totally honest. But
Yeah, me too.
there you go.
Quick point on Collision. So it's going to be a Saturday show. It's going to be a Saturday night show or whenever it is. Generally, that will be good. But you do then wonder where these ratings will be once the on-off season finishes of the big American sports.
Yes. And also the fact that Rampage is on a Friday, and that's back to back Friday and Saturday wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't know if Rampage will be moved or whether it will just be kind of the NXT level of program. So it's not essential must see at the time. Whereas Dynamite and Collision, they're both live, and they'll both be wanting as many people to check it out as it happens. Difficult, really. I mean, for us, we'll probably be watching it on a Sunday morning,
as long as we get
because of the time
same
difference.
Day. Well, it depends if we get it on the same day as well.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean, yeah, through Fight or TV or something like that. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll probably get it on Fight as it happens, but if it's on at the night there, it's going to be at 1 o'clock in the morning for us as a minimum. So, yeah, I haven't got like a massive knowledge of Saturday night TV in the States, but as you say, there's going to be sports over the weekend. And it'll be interesting to see how it's marketed and what the show on before it is, because sometimes when they get a good lead show, they get people sticking around then and checking out the wrestling as well, and perhaps leaving it on. Yeah. So we'll have to see. But you'd like to think sports bars and the like will have it on live, particularly in the Jacksonville area and across other wrestling hungry states.
Yeah, with Chicago being one of them.
Yes.
But, anyway, let's digress and move on to Dynamite. So this was in the Moody Center, I believe, in Texas. Starts off with Wardlow. Wardlow, Christian Cage, Luchasaurus. They have a big to-do in the ring, and it's announced that they're going to have it's Wardlow and Christian Cage at Double or Nothing, and it's going to be a ladder match for the championship. Now, you would normally give the champions advantage, well, to a degree in a ladder match, but Christian is a ladder match specialist, as we know from his days in WWE and even Impact Wrestling. So what has your thoughts sort of changed about the match in general? Because I was kind of thinking it'll be okay, it'll be okay. Christian can, generally pull a good match out of a lot of people, but now I'm sort of, the match for me is kind of elevated higher, because now I'm kind of expecting the match to be a lot better than what it potentially was going to be now the ladder match has been introduced.
Yeah. A nice wrinkle, I thought. And it made a lot of sense. So, they brought the ladder into play as well.
Yes.
I think Wardlow is capable of a lot more than people give him credit for. I think he'll be, hitting his senton off the top rope, and there'll be a few nice spots in the match as well. I hope it's not a total spot fest. Christian's always got good psychology in his matches.
Yes.
I was looking forward to the prospect of this, and then obviously we knew it was going to happen, and now it's a ladder match. I see that as a good thing. I don't see that being a negative at all. I think it'd be great.
No, yeah, exactly that. And I think maybe now, people that may have thought Wardlow was a dead cert to win this, now they've kind of upped the ante a little bit. Maybe that kind of takes that favoritism away from the champion.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, certainly. If it was a straight singles match, you'd be thinking even with Luchasaurus at ringside, you'd think one way or another, Wardlow, will retain. Yes. Now with the ladder match stipulation, could go either way. That'll be a coupon buster for a lot of people keeping score at home and with their predictions.
Exactly that. The ladder match was made later on after the first match, actually. So I went a bit far ahead there, but it was kind of tied in together. So
yeah. It was backstage with Arn, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can make that mistake. Right, the first match, as usual, on Impact was Orange Cassidy, and this time he was again tag teaming with Darby Allin versus Lee Moriarty and Big Bill. Match itself, I thought the match was okay. It was a fun opener.
Yeah.
Trying to throw together a little bit of a house show kind of opener, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, after this match, there's stuff with Guevara as well. I'm going to say, I don't know. this is probably going to be a bit, maybe a bit harsh, but your Guevara, Cassidy, Darby, sorry, the Guevara, Darby, Jungle Boy, MJF, sorry, are basically main eventing the
Yeah.
Double or Nothing. And realistically, regardless of where that match is, regardless of where your champion is on the card, it's the main event because he's the champion. He's the one holding the gold. So in my view, I'm a traditionalist. I always say if you're a champion, you main event it, regardless of where you're first, middle, or top. And you're meant to be using your champion and the storyline to build a champion to sell your tickets and to make people buy the pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't for me. I mean,
Mm.
this may be one of the reasons why these ticket sales have gone off on the boil, so to speak, because they've kind of used a match that they've only confirmed later on that night, which we'll get to, as kind of the match to sell the tickets, when, in my view, your champion should sell the tickets.
Yeah. We've said about the build to this, and I think the biggest problem is nobody expects MJF to lose. It's like a foregone conclusion that MJF will retain, and there's nothing really interesting in the fallout from that. There's no real stipulations. There's nothing changes really. MJF will retain and they move on. Now, it could be a massive curveball and they could go with one of the others.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them are ready. As you said, maybe they will be one day. I would say I do tip my cap to them for going for this and giving them the opportunity in the main event and to try to elevate them. It's over to them now to prove that they belong there and pull the best match off possible. And in the future, if they're drawing bigger ratings because of them being in that position, then great, it worked out.
Yeah.
But if they're losing ticket sales here and that continues in the States, that's not good. That's not good. And you could see them being made scapegoat for it as well.
Yeah.
So there's a few ways it could go, but
exactly that. Hopefully,
I think it'll be a great match, and I'm looking forward to it. But it doesn't feel like the centerpiece, does it? The Anarchy in the Arena match feels like the biggest deal.
Yeah, exactly that. We'll touch on that later. But as you rightfully say, that match certainly feels like it's the one that they've banked their money on, so to speak. And I agree. I don't think the match itself, I think, will be fine. It'd be good. But I'm always a big thing about your champion should be the one selling your tickets, and I don't think that's been the case for this particular. And to be honest, I like my champions to be there, and people can say to me, well, Roman Reigns wasn't there, but there's a storyline that keeps you invested even when he's away, that carries on for when he gets back. With MJF, he's kind of been there. He's cut his usual great promos that he does, but I would like to see the champion in the ring a bit more, especially he's still kind of new into his reign.
And for me, if we go back to the last pay-per-view, is it Revolution?
Think so, mate. Yeah.
Well, the match with Danielson, essentially, that was MJF's first defense, or a very early defense.
Yeah.
And a lot of people expected Danielson to win.
Yeah.
Even though there was the doubt because it was so early in MJF's reign.
Yeah.
There was a possibility that it could happen. You don't feel that here. You don't. So it does make the title feel less important, unfortunately. Yeah. And it may have been better to go with a one-on-one feud with somebody, Jay White and others. They weren't really the right people and at the right time. But there were other contenders in there, which I think may have been better options.
Yeah, exactly that. We move to the back. There's a big brawl with the Bucks, the BCC. Castagnoli runs Nick Jackson into a car, pressed him onto the hood. Moxley kicked the crap out of. They basically just kick the crap out of everyone and say that they are the only elite. We've kind of touched on this already. Wardlow's in a trainer's room. Anderson barges in, says this shouldn't happen. And basically, what is Wardlow prepared to do? That's where the ladder match challenge comes in. And the last bit of the backstage before we move to the next match was Orange Cassidy with Rene Paquette, and basically said he'll fight anyone, and he's just going to go and talk to Tony Khan, and we'll talk about that, Matt, what happens in there in a minute. Second match. Sammy Guevara versus Exodus Prime. Three moves done. Is that the? I suppose really was that their way of sort of trying to get Sammy to be a believable contender.
I think so. And obviously they started the show with a bit of a promo angle.
Yes.
So they probably didn't want to do something so similar. If Sammy just come out and say what he said.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it just bulks Sammy up a little bit, shows a couple of his moves off, and it was a squash match though.
Yes.
Nothing more, nothing less.
No, and that's pretty much how we can move on from
Yeah,
that. It simply
not
was
too
three
much to
moves.
say about it. Yeah,
Yeah, literally that. Next thing was Tony Schiavone. Was with Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam. FTR come out and attack. They throw Singh off the ramp. He through a table. Big brawl breaks out. Lethal somehow apparently lost his pants in this match.
yeah.
Cash was literally going in on Jarrett. They're about to hit Big Red, and there is a red that in the ring, but it's Karen Jarrett.
Yes.
Low blows Cash. They hit the stroke on Dax. They have a double choke slam by Singh. Stereo chair guitar shots. Karen Jarrett is all elite.
Yeah, is she signed some kind of deal?
Don't
I
know.
haven't seen the graphic.
No,
No, and
graphic.
I love this segment. I think it's got better and better with the weeks of the weeks have gone on. They did the comedy skit a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
A lot of people got invested off the back of that. I think this will be a good match. I didn't mind this week. I liked what they did with Satnam. Both the getting rid of him in the first place, putting him through the table, and he returned later and looked strong, and it was an awesome double choke slam as well. Sometimes they can look a bit ropey.
Yes.
And Dax and Cash are like fairly decent sized guys, so they're not cruiserweights.
No.
But I thought it was great. I think they can leave this alone now. Maybe they'll do a little bit next week.
Double or nothing, is it not? They got a title match on
Sunday. Yeah,
but
is it? Yeah, week on Sunday, isn't it?
Is it a week on Sunday? I thought it was Sunday. I thought it was this week.
Or
Champions is next week, unless they've got to run at the same time.
Let's just find out whether it's this week or next week. It might be. I thought it was next week, but double or nothing. 28th of May.
Okay, next weekend. So
yeah,
they've got another week.
I thought it was. Yeah. So I think next week. Yeah. So I thought that maybe next week they'll do a little bit of a promo or something backstage, but I don't think they need to do anything like this now. I think the match is built, the match is set, and we can use next week to focus on a couple of the other matches, I suppose.
Yeah, I need to rip my notes up because I put this as the go-home edition of it. Whoops, my bad.
When you said about the review, I thought you were talking about a week on Monday, but yeah, I should have corrected you.
So, for everyone at home, earlier on today, I messaged Dave and I said, "What time are you watching Double or Nothing this weekend?"
And you did say, yeah, you did.
I say this weekend? I said, when did you watch it? On Sunday or something like that? And you said you'd probably watch it the day after. And I said, great, 6 o'clock Monday, we'll do a review.
Yeah.
And I've totally messed up. So it would be bank holiday Monday.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to make the save there and tag myself in. Then I've left you to take the beat.
Be the host, Dave. I think I'll go now. You can finish up.
Yeah.
So my bad. Apologies. Anyway, let's segue quick. The next match was meant to be a 6-man with the Outcasts. It was meant to be the Outcasts against Jamie Hayter, Hikaru Shida, and your namesake, DMD, Britt Baker. Jamie Hayter's got an injury.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true, but apparently she's got an injury. They done a tag. They left Saraya out, which I'm kind of guessing at the moment is probably better just because there's too many matches and the neck, what have you. The Outcasts pick up the win. Again, I'm going to go on to the title situation again. Jamie Hayter, title. Now, I don't know how long she's had this injury for, so it could well be that what I'm about to say is a load of rubbish anyway. I had high hopes for this title reign for Jamie Hayter. I thought it was time. It was great. I was expecting a Britt Baker turn on her at one point. I've been deflated by this one as well. And again, it could well be that she's been dealing with this injury since she won the title. I don't know. it's just the only title I'm remotely interested in at the moment in AEW is Jade Cargill, and she's not really fought anyone of note bar entire Valkyrie and I think Ruby Soho, and I think she had a couple of matches with Anna Jay and
Yeah.
that's the only title I'm interested in at the minute. I mean, the match itself, the tag match itself was passable, it was fine, but I don't know. Again, this world title situation with the women, it's becoming the same as the men for me.
Yeah, yeah, and how? I mean, I think she picked it up in that match 2 weeks ago, but
Is that when she run out?
yeah, yeah. So, and also they've announced a title match against Tony Storm
They have double or
for the
nothing.
pay-per-view, so she
Yes.
can't be too far off a return.
Or is it to get the title off of her? So instead of doing the whole relinquishing, because they've done that so many times
Yeah,
in AEW due to injury or whatever, are they doing this to set up a Tony Storm change because that she's injured and she might be able to make it through a match, so they saved it for the pay-per-view maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that's totally possible because if you watch AEW All Access, there was a huge drama around
I was going to
Thunder
get into.
Rosa.
Yeah.
So this has kind of come back on Britt Baker to a degree because obviously her best friend, partner, has got the title, and if she can't defend it, for however long, then you can't do the interim thing because of what happened with Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
So it might be the way to get the belt off of you. She might not be cleared for a number of weeks. You're right. I don't know too many details on it, and hopefully it is a minor injury.
Yeah.
And we get a good match at the pay-per-view, but it has killed the momentum, and your champion isn't looking as important as she should be. It's about the other women, as we saw this week. You know, they all seem like bigger stars in some respects.
Yes.
With Jamie not there and not on television in the lead up to Double or Nothing.
Yeah. Hopefully, as you say, hopefully it is just one of those niggly ones just to get her out of the get her out of this match and sort of protect her ready for the pay-per-view so that she's ready for Double or
But
Nothing.
you'd think she'd still be on TV in some capacity.
Yeah.
So it's a bit strange.
Yeah, and that's why I think the title for her, the title run for me, has been so underwhelming because I saw where she was on before. She was great, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be good for her. Good title. She's a good competitor, and then unfortunately, maybe.
Yeah, another thing Britt said on All Access, she didn't want to actually be the champion, and she wouldn't want the belt. Yeah,
yeah.
She didn't want all the drama that goes along with being the champion. No. So that may have dictated what they've done with the storyline. Because I expected the same, that Britt turned on Jamie and they'd lead to a big match, which would be a big match. You feel, Tony against Jamie, even if it is a proper match. I don't think it's necessarily the match that the fans want.
No, it probably isn't. But maybe are they saving Tony? Or are they going to save Jamie Hayter and Saraya for All In? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, possibly.
We'll see if the injuries are an interest. So we go to the back, and Orange Cassidy said, 20 people want to talk to Tony Khan. And Orange Cassidy will fight them all. So they're going to make it 21, which is a blackjack thing, so it's going to be the Blackjack Battle Royal, I believe.
Yeah,
the Casino Royale Battle Royal, right?
Yeah.
So 21 man Battle Royal for the International Championship. Well, he couldn't have pulled a lever on that one, Dave. That's for sure. So we're going to see. Is there going to be any surprises in this one?
I would have thought so. I don't know if they do the whole Joker deal with it. I'm not sure how they're going to structure it, whether everyone will start in the ring or whether it'll be the different groups, so five at a time, was it?
Yeah.
Last time I'm sure it was. I like this, and it kind of does fit in with the international title because there hasn't, as you pointed out, there's been no real feuds for it. It's just had banger after banger, great match after great match without much build. So in that respect, it fits the title, and it fits Orange Cassidy taking on all comers.
Yeah.
You'd like to think, certainly for me, I don't think Orange should be walking away with it. I think this is the chance to give somebody else a run with it, and it still protects Orange Cassidy. If he's eliminated, if he's thrown over the top rope, even if he gets down to the final four or something, and keeps him strong, I think it's time now to give somebody else a run.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see what happens with that. I'm looking forward to that. I was Orange Cassidy's run. I haven't got a problem with. I thought he's been good. It's just never been a solid feud. It's always just been throw this guy in.
I just find it very. I know it's wrestling, but very unlikely that he would survive.
Yeah,
20 other men. It doesn't say a lot for them, does it?
no, not
If the
really.
champion beats 20 other men,
Yeah,
it's not like a Royal Rumble,
no,
where somebody could come out right at the end and win. If
no.
it's a battle royal and if they all start from the beginning and Cassidy's in there for the whole match,
Yeah,
it would be pretty corny
yeah.
for him to come away with the belt, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly that. Obviously we've already mentioned Collision. Tony Khan announced that after that. Then, my goodness me, we had a match, Falls Count Anywhere, and bloody hell did they go everywhere. Roderick Strong, Chris Jericho, JAS, Adam Cole banned from ringside. They went fucking everywhere in this. They were in like a stairway bit where it was a cover where Aubrey had to sort of hit the steel bits of the poles on the sides to get the pin. Well, had some ice cream during it, and it went everywhere. It then went outside. Now, we've already said Adam Cole, JAS, banned from ringside. Jericho is walking, and you see this walk, and all of a sudden, right behind him pops up Mr. Cole. They have a scrap. Adam Cole lowers the boom. Strong hits the big knee, wins it. That's what I've been waiting for all Dynamite.
Yeah.
That's the match that if it ended on that, I would have been fine.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic brawl, technical brawl, in my opinion.
Yeah. I loved it. This match did not disappoint. I'm shocked that that WWE let Roderick Strong go. I mean, you watch more WWE and see more NXT than I do.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he's not a promo guy or he struggles on the mic, but man, in the ring,
wasn't used for about 18 months.
Yeah, I don't understand that because he looks like an absolute brilliant acquisition for AEW. That might change. I might change my tune in a few months if he's not used well. But he started off fantastically to get a big win over Chris Jericho as well. Adds fuel to the fire for the Jericho Cole feud. This match was great. Very different to we don't see matches like this very often.
No.
So when you do, they seem even more special. The video of the fans like following around in the arena when they were held back by the security guards, that was like some kind of Attitude Era type scenes, Great, absolutely loved this, and it was a clever finish. Obvious when you kind of not obvious. So I didn't expect it. It wasn't obvious. It was a totally acceptable, clever finish. Perhaps we should have saw it when they were going outside, but no, it got me, so that was great.
To be honest, I didn't think about it. It was one of those things where I was like, hang on, I was like, shit, ringside, and then that's when it clicked when I was like, okay. But do you think it was it wasn't like a general like a slugfest? They had elements of technical part of this brawl as well. There was the bits where they were just brawling, but there was a lot of there was a technical side to it as well.
Technical exchange, yeah, definitely. And that that's credit to the guys involved in the match. They give it a bit of everything. I loved the chop battle on the top on the little there above the. I thought Jericho was being tossed over a balcony or something to begin with, and then he kind of fell on the platform or the ledge. And they had a little chop battle on there. I thought that was good as well. And I'll go back and rewatch this match. And I don't very often, weekly TV or weekly episodes, go back and watch stuff again unless it's fantastic. This is something that I'll definitely want to sit down and have a look at again when I get a chance this week.
Yeah, definitely. We move on. Rush, as I like to call him. He was with Preston Vance and Jose against Jungle Boy. Now, apologies, I'd got this mixed up on my notes with the first match when I was talking about everyone coming out and Sammy and So I have to apologize. My notes are a bit all over the place. So this match was this match, Dave, because Jungle Boy won by rolling him up and using the tights. Is this them sort of saying Jungle Boy is prepared to? Not say, kind of. He was the underdog in the match. I mean, that's how they were building him up. He was still not the favourite to win this match. he did. I think he had a bit of a bad spot as well. At some, I can't remember what he done. I mean, in a suicide dive or some kind of.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus Christ! Yeah, I thought he was in trouble at that point. But basically, he was the underdog, but he won because he held the trunks. Now, are they kind of suggesting that this is sort of Jungle Boy saying he's willing to do anything, including cheat at Double or Nothing to get the win?
So again, an interesting little detail because MJF has said to Jungle Boy, "This could have been you if if you'd have used some of the tactics that I've used.
Yeah.
You try and do it the perceived right way,
Yeah.
and that's why you're not the champion, and that's why you're in the position you're in."
Yeah.
So he definitely flirted with the idea that maybe some of those words are sinking into Jungle Boy, and he's thinking, well, if I need to pull the tights to win the match and win the title at Double or Nothing, then I'm prepared to do that.
Yeah.
It also protected Roosh. I love Roosh.
Yes.
I think he's fantastic. El Toro Blanco, I think he calls
Yeah.
himself, or
You got
the
it.
White Bull.
Yeah.
Another one, and after we were talking last week about guys like Miro and
Yeah.
Thunder Rosa
Hmm.
and House of Black featuring more on Collision. You've
Hmm.
also got Andrade, you've got
Yes.
Roosh, you got Scorpio Sky, get his name right this week. There's more talent. You sit down and look at that roster. Yeah, there's even more than I realized. I forgot about Andrade. But to be able to bring him in,
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Maybe again a Collision. When they move them to Collision and they have the watered down rosters either way, these guys will get more ring time, which is exactly what we want to see.
Definitely.
After this is kind of what I was talking about. Preston Advance hits the ring. They beat down on Jungle Boy. Darby makes a save, but there's still too many numbers. The fans at this point are chanting Sammy. And lo and behold, they get what they want. Sammy comes in. They clean house. Back at this point, Renee catches up with MJF. She's asking for a comment. He just slaps the mic out of her hand and walks away. We get Tony Storm. That's where the kind of bit where Double or Nothing was. Where she challenged, Jamie Hayter, Double or Nothing. The next match, Switchblade Jay White and Ricky Starks. I felt this match suffered a little bit from time constraints because of what happens after and perhaps maybe a bit before. It, for me, kind of started to get going. It was really good. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it. Started to get going. And then they stopped it. There was a chair. Ricky Starks hits Jay White chair and gets DQ'd. And also hits Juice Robinson and gets DQ'd. Are they saving this match for the full match? Because as I said, it felt like there was so much more left. Are they holding this off for a pay-per-view, do you think?
I think so. It's just a little taster, wasn't it? And a DQ finish in AEW is rare, and I don't mind them if they use sparingly. The problem I have is when those kind of finishes are used week in, week out.
Yeah.
So as a one-off, I don't mind it. The fact that Starks used the chair, wasn't 100% happy with that, but I suppose you did have the interference from Juice, so
yeah,
that was a bit of an equalizer. I would imagine some kind of gimmick will be attached to the match if it is announced for Double or Nothing. This wasn't. It was fine, as you said. It was okay. I think both are capable of kind of more than this.
Yes.
I don't know why it just hasn't seemed to click as well. I'm not sure. I've been trying to. I hear all these good things about Jay White and everything I've heard. And he had a great match last year at Forbidden Door, albeit with the injury incident with Adam Cole. I'm not sure about this. Hopefully, though, they prove everyone wrong and have a great match at the pay-per-view, and they can move on from there. I don't want it lingering for like months. This, I think it's time to move into different directions of them both.
Definitely. Give him a good 25-minute match at a pay-per-view. I was really getting into it when it ended, and say maybe they're just holding it off, which isn't a bad thing. So the final segment of Dynamite this week, Don Callis joined Tony Schiavone in the ring. Good heat, Callis obviously. Basically saying without Callis, there's no Omega. Brings out Kenny Omega. Obviously, there's security around the ramp. Omega starts to run through him. All of a sudden, the Blackpool Combat Club jumping from behind. Moxley hits Paradigm Shift on the ramp, and then BCC are in the ring, basically saying the war is over. It's final warning. Stay down, Kenny. BCC are what everyone in the business pretends to be. Then the Young Bucks come out, and they've got a garbage can full of weapons, but it's still, the numbers game is still in the favor of the BCC, and then the horse comes on the screen, or whatever if it's a horse, comes on the screen. Hangman Page has returned. He has got an eye patch. The crowd go ballistic. He gives Omega gives him the barbed wire broom. There is a massive fight in the ring. They hit the BTE trigger on Utah. The buckshot gets hit to Moxley. Hangman grabs the mic and says they are the Heartless Soul, the Elite. Anarchy in the arena at Double or Nothing, which has been confirmed. Great way to end it. And I think, again, Hangman returning. There is an issue with apparently his contract's due as well. So we don't.
Yeah, he's in negotiations, I think. Yeah.
Negotiations with a contract with Hangman. Great to see him back, selling the injury with the patch, which is good. We thought it was going to go either Blood and Guts and Anakin Arena. I kind of went, with Blood and Guts just because Moxley and bleeding, but he can bleed in Anakin Arena anyway. Strong end to the segment, and again, it really makes you want to tune in to find out what's going to happen next week.
Yeah, I love this. You think back as well to Omega and Hangman, and the Elite originally, and then they were tag champs, and then they went against each other, and this whole story, and to come back now, and they're together, and they've joined forces against the BCC, who members have had issues with individually, like the Moxley and Hangman feud, the Danielson matches with Omega. This was excellent. The only question I have really is whether it will stay as 4-on-4 as it is, which I would be absolutely fine with, or whether your mate Takeshita gets added to the mix, and if he does, which side and who's the other man. We can't help it, can we, wrestling fans? We just love the speculation. We love the booking. I'd be quite happy for this to be the finish match, 4 against 4, Anarchy in the arena. I think it would be great.
Go on.
Looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the match, definitely. As you say, will they add a 5th member? The only thing I would, maybe the reason why they might, Danielson hasn't really been getting involved a lot with protection. Now, I'm assuming, again, we're talking protection, injury. Would it make sense to add a 5th, just, again, so that he can be even more limited, especially in this type of match where if it's going to go wrong in this match, it's going to be worse than if it was in the ring?
Maybe, because there's an element, I don't know if there's an element of pre-recording stuff, but there's certainly different cameras that can cut to different things to, as you say, protect Danielson if he is carrying any injuries. The more men the better, I suppose, in that case. And this match, when it was Anakin in the arena last year, and when we've had what was it called prior to that, Stadium Stampede.
Stadium Stampede, yes.
It's always been a 5-on-5. So yeah, we've still got a week to go, as you've just found out. And
yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah,
a bit more.
Yeah, and I said we haven't seen Takeshita for a few weeks since he got taken out by the BCC. So, and he's affiliated with Don Callis, who we had a little teaser of Don. He said, but we didn't get a great deal of him. So there'll be more from Don Callis, I'm sure. And this one isn't over. I don't even know if it will be over after Anakin in the arena, to be honest. There does seem some decent mileage in this, in the individual matches they can do that spins off it as well.
Yeah, maybe. I think maybe well, I don't. Yeah, I was thinking Forbidden Doors after that, right?
Yeah.
So maybe not necessarily. We don't have a 5-on-5, we have a 4-on-4. But then maybe we find out what Callis is really up to, because we touched on it last week that he changed things. His handle or his bio, it said like Brav, and looking at thinking about Osprey at this point, United Empire, maybe get Aussie Open as well. So maybe that, or Ibushi, as you say. But who was Kenny Omega's? Was it Okada in Japan?
Yeah, so Okada was his tag team partner. They were the Golden Lovers,
Okay.
and
Ibushi was
Ibushi.
the one that he had a load of matches with, right?
No, I'm sorry. Ibushi is the tag partner.
Right.
Okada is who he had all the matches against.
So yeah, does that open up maybe a Kenny and Okada a forbidden door?
Yeah,
Potentially, I don't know. Again, we've got a lot. We've got. I'll probably get that fucking date wrong as well when that's on. When that's on.
I mean,
You?
going back to what we were talking about earlier, Jay
Yeah,
White,
yeah,
could they? I know they got Juice Robinson to factor in and Bullet Club Gold.
yeah,
Would it not have been a better idea to bring Jay White in with the Elite? And if I know he works as a heel predominantly, and that's where he does his best work.
yeah,
Well, perhaps they could have spun a feud out of this, either with someone in the Elite or with someone in the BCC. If Jay White was part of the Elite, for particularly for this match, I just think that would have been
yeah,
a better use of him potentially.
yeah.
I don't. We
Potentially.
don't know all the answers. We don't know what they're going to do and where they're going to go. Um, I'm just frustrated. You probably tell I'm a little bit frustrated
Mm.
about the Jay White situation because I was giving them the benefit of the doubt week after week, and WWE fans were a bit, you've brought him in and you've done this with him.
Mm.
When they were Triple H was so interested in him taking him there,
Yeah.
and it does feel like a little bit of a waste at the minute. And that's nothing against Ricky Starks,
No.
but I just don't think their feud is. I don't really know why they're feuding. I don't really know what Ricky Starks and Jay White, what their problem is, other than the additional stuff with Juice
Juice.
Robinson.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is interesting. Yeah, I think one of the reasons why, well, from the certainly the sheets would say that it was due to a hiring freeze that the WWE are now kind of on the way out of. There's talk of McIntyre's contract soon to be renewed. Now maybe they had these
Yeah,
freezes in pay or whatever they would. But they did lose Jay White to AEW, and there was some butthurt WWE fans, and that's probably just carried over just because of how he's been used. With Jay White, I knew of him, and I knew he was good.
yeah,
We have this with our YouTube guy Munzie, who's a massive Jay White fan, and he was like, he's going to be a game changer. He's going to do all this, and I kind of laughed it off just
yeah,
because of how, as you say, how he's been presented in AEW currently. Now, in a month's time, we could be sitting here and I could be saying, well, I was wrong.
yeah,
Because, I can only go by what I see. I knew, as I say, I knew of Jay White in Japan. I knew he was good and great. There is a difference over here in this, when you move to, it's like when you move from a League One to a championship side, or when you move to championship to the Premiership, there's a gulf in talent.
yeah,
And it's just whether or not they can hit those heights of, say, Japan over in the United States, whether that would have been in WWE or AEW. So the jury's still out for me with Jay White. I must admit I was expecting more, and now coming from your good self, who's an AEW fanatic, I kind of now realise that what I'm thinking was probably right in terms
mm-hmm.
of I was expecting more, and so were you.
Yeah. And as you say, they can still write it. They can still put him on a good path again.
Yeah.
If I was on creative or had any say in it, because they are where they are, what's happened has happened.
Yeah.
I would have the match with Ricky at Double or Nothing, and even do something where he actually loses the match. Jay loses the match, but it might have been Juice's fault. Juice tries to get involved, costs him the match, and then Jay White absolutely destroys Juice Robinson. And then he's on his own and he goes on to bigger and better things. Perhaps, being one of the top guys on Collision week in, week out. We keep saying this, don't we, about Collision?
We do. We do.
Well, it looks like it is an A show. They're going to treat it with the same importance and book it the same way as they do Dynamite. They've bought Will Washington in from Fightful.
He's going to be
working.
helping writing, isn't he?
Yeah, he's on the creative team, and I've listened to a lot of podcasts with Will Washington on, and he really does talk a lot of sense. And he has always done like the fantasy booking and say perhaps they should have done this, and it's like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I'm hoping he can have a real impact and help Tony Khan and get the best out of people like Jay White moving forward.
Yeah, no, me too. Tony definitely has a lot of wrestling to write now.
Yeah.
If you think 2 hours of Ring of Honor, an hour of Ring of Honor, whatever it is, 2 hours of Dynamite, 2 hours of Collision coming up, he certainly needs help. The other guy that I was thinking of, was it
Tanahashi.
No. There's another. I want to say
Tamatonga?
Samoan God. That's
Yeah.
Tonga. That's it. Jesus Christ, that's the name. I was thinking perhaps he may be involved as some, because I think his contract was due up in Japan, or he's up. Wasn't he not part of Bullet Club?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm not too clued up. I've got a friend who is really into New Japan, so I'll check in with
Get on
him
him.
before we do our next
Yeah.
AEW review, and we can
Well,
speculate a little bit more on some of the others.
yes. So the AEW review next week, guys, will be on a delay. It will be Friday instead of Thursday. I am best man at my friend James's wedding. I thought I would hit that on there. James, you are going to get absolutely ripped, by the way, on your speech. My speech is all up there. I don't need no paper. I'm going to shoot it like a shoot promo would be done. So yeah, it will be next Friday, the AEW. It will be the go home to Double or Nothing. Thanks, Dave, for sorting that out. Guys, we are going to take a very short break, around about an hour and 9 minutes. And then our next destination is the land of extreme, where me, Dave, and Andy will be joined by someone who took over our socials to announce himself on the podcast. And we will be talking all things Extreme Championship Wrestling with one of the greats of ECW, Justin Credible. That will be in around an hour and 10 minutes time. We know this is not live, but we still got to say it. Guys, a big shout out to our sponsors, Pro Wrestling Carnage, Jurassic Pro Wrestling, Beers and Beatdowns, Ignite Wrestling Pro. Watch out for another announcement with a new talent potentially. They teased it last night. If you haven't checked Ignite's Twitter, do so. They've teased another talent to come to Buckle Up, which is our show. Front rows are sold out. Second rows are limited. There's not many left now to go for ticket-wise. You can follow us at HTT Buckle on Twitter. You can go on YouTube, hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. You'll see me. You'll see him. And until 7 o'clock, Dave, I will bid you farewell for now.
Thanks, mate. I'll go and grab a bite, and I'll see you in an hour.
See you now, buddy.